Good fucking morning, base. Good fucking morning, ladies. How are y'all doing today? We're good? Feeling fly? Nice. Tamaguchi, it seems. Very good, very good, very good. We're back for another episode. My lip still hurts a bit. I can't believe I bit so fucking hard. It's still like fucking 5 days later. Go to the doctor. No, it's healing slowly but surely. I got some salve or whatever, some gel for it at the pharmacy today. So yeah, hopefully it's good, but it's very annoying in this cold. I think that's why it's taking so long to heal, because I'm going outside with the dog. It's fucking freezing degrees, man. Snow everywhere. Or so I imagine in my head, if I were allowed outside. Yes. Impedia, thank you for the 1 year. Sir, what's up, my dude? Bada bing, bada boom. Join the batch, man. Fappy Feet, Jack Espresso, Darlectro, 1948, Jack Cypher. I am boy Blind Knight, thank you, boys. For 7, Re7. Chad on it says, hey Clarkson. Have you seen any old boomer movies yet? Just yesterday watched Equilibrium for the first time, and that movie is fucking stupid and poggers at the same time. They use martial arts called gun kata. Yeah, it's when Christian Bale, I think, dual wields pistols. I seen it a long time ago when it came out, because I'm a boomer myself. I don't remember if it was good though. I don't think it was good, but it was memorable enough for me to remember the name. But kind of silly, I guess. And now the light goes off, I think. You almost missed it. He's watched too much Matrix.
HHA Forsen. Nice hair, looking kinda cute today.
Never talk to me in my hair ever again. Batman with guns. Hog. There's a universe where Batman has guns, actually. Actually, it's not Batman. I mean, it's Batman, but it's actually his father. He uses guns. Because the kid dies instead of his parents in that universe. Lore. He's a sex offender. What is that? Sense offender. Oh. Alright. I mean, it's kinda silly, yeah. It's like, I don't remember when this movie came out, but it must have been like a few years after Matrix, probably. 2000. Yeah. So they were like, oh shit, Matrix is fucking cool, man. Let's make a Matrix with Christian Bale. But it just isn't the same, man. Like, let's put the same outfit on him and shit, and let's like put fucking dual wheel pistols. -10. H. But yeah, there are plenty of good boomer movies though. I mean, it's not a bad movie probably. I just don't remember. Demon Bites Donut says, hello sir, hope you're feeling funky today, cause here's the grooviest banger from Time Splitter Future Perfect. Enjoy your stream, sir. Time Splitters. Eric Colai Donut says, Mr. Force, Valheim entered early access yesterday. Great reviews, feels like a perfect game to play with dice. Oh yeah, I remember Valheim. We watched some trailer of it. So, like a survival game with Vikings. Oh, 840 released yesterday. Alright. Though. Is it server based or open world online co-op survival? The graphic is kind of little, but I mean, who cares about graphics in the current year, right?
Hello, Forsen. Today is my 21st birthday. I have been watching you since 2015, and now first time donating. Thank you for all the good laughs. Can you please watch this video? Oh my God, I want to go here.
Oh, big a little, potentially, but there's a couple of people ahead of you, man. I mean, yeah. How big is this game? I don't know if it's server based or whatever. We'll find out. We'll find out. Add to cart. I'm not inviting anyone. I'm not adding anyone on the Steam, on my friend list or whatever. Like, either it's online or solo. I can't be arsed doing it any other way. 1 gigabyte? How can this game be 1 gigabyte? Lazyson. No, I just don't care to prioritize people. Alright. I don't know why it was 1 gigabyte. Is it like an in-game client? Let me just see if this can't be right. 1 gigabyte can't be right. Alright, seems to work. That's weird. How does that even work? Low graphics, but I mean 1 gigabyte for an online game. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. React to my video, please. Clarkson making fun of Americans.
America would be full of people doing whatever it is they do. Incest, mostly. God, Florida's awful. Nasty insects, old people, fat people, a lot of people who all offer you cheese. You want cheese with that? You want cheese with that? And then shoot you. It also says it has a completely flat belly, the only thing in America that has.
Yeah, good news for rural inbreds this week. Hummer, the people who make those enormous pseudo-military off-roaders, you know, this sort of thing, they have come out with a new range of aftershave and smelly stuff. There it is, Hummer. It's the first name that springs to me. Just have a look at that. There you go. Yeah. It's nice.
When you open the top, listen to the sound.
Yes, exactly.
Hi Forsen, why do you not have a business email listed anywhere? It would be beneficial for you.
I guess I don't care enough. But I guess I can just make one random ass, put it in my Twitter or something, so that my mods don't get, that my mods don't have to fucking sort through imbeciles trying to contact me. 6 years later. Not a bad idea.
Actually, it was a fly-drive holiday, so it wasn't a holiday at all, because of course you get to the car hire desk and there's the gormless man with the spiky hair, and he types War and Peace into his computer for 16 hours, and then he doesn't know where England is, and he steals your driving license, and then he directs you to a car park where your car isn't. Is it? You see, the problem is that the Americans aren't good on
He's like an unfunny Will Ferrell, right? Will Ferrell is already unfunny. He's so unfunny that he's funny. Daniel Samadon says hello Forsen, here's a short horror video, 5 minutes and TOS friendly, have a good day. No, you have a good day. White Void. Horse. Okay.
That's the hay ever.
Hey, Montel with the 10 gift. That's Hubs. Thank you very much, man. I got 5 plus 5. Thank you.
Hey.
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 Sorry. Guys, can we...
You okay?
Yeah.
This is real. Of course it's real. It's video evidence.
What's wrong?
I can't explain.
If you leave, you're off our roster for good. Like, permanently. Show some professionalism for once in your life.
Look at these absolute cucks trashing America. Red bonds are a disgrace. They need a license to wipe their asses, and they import half the third world into their country because they are complete pussies. Absolutely disgusting.
All right. Yeah, you have the pictures. Nice smile.
Sorry. Okay. Smile.
She can't any more than she's already.
A little more natural, please.
-5. -5. Sir Louis, Toy Hat, Child Support Tech, and Azrizil. Maris 87 and Halloween, Kick Muscles, thank you boys. Welcome back. Alright, what is this? 800,000? Okay.
You probably know what this is. It's a health bar, an energy meter, or life gauge. Whatever you call it, they're everywhere. An essential part of video games and their language of design. It's a simple, elementary thing, but they haven't been around forever. Back in the golden era of arcade games, things were a bit simpler. Either you were alive or dead. There was no in between. If you touch a ghost in Pac-Man or an alien laser in Space Invaders, that was it. Life lost, maybe game over. However, by the mid-1980s, things became more forgiving. In beat-em-ups like Final Fight and the earlier Renegade, you could take a few punches, indicated by the now familiar health bar at the top of the screen. It's an easy way to convey player health. Bar charts aren't exactly uncommon, nor are they particularly hard to implement, even on basic hardware. One of the earliest examples is probably Nintendo's 1983 arcade game Punch-Out!, which has a similar configuration to later fighting games like Street Fighter II. It's more of a stamina bar than a vitality one, but it works as you'd expect. When it's empty, it's a knockout. But as we go further back, the very concept of health starts to change, and we begin to see what would be more accurately described as energy bars. Instead of just losing health when you get hit, these examples continuously decayed, acting more as a timer. And given the popularity of spaceships and jetpacks, they were sometimes labelled as fuel or air supplies, such as in Manic Miner or Lunar Jetman. 1979's Astro Fighter, Data East's first release, is the earliest
Astro Fighter? Did they steal their fucking ships from Star Wars?
Fuel exactly fits the definition of a health bar.
The previous ones,
did you see?
Lineage
and stretch back to the earliest days of the arcade, just a year after Space Invaders.
I forgot what they're called.
So the humble health bar has an
TIE
origin,
Fighters.
and only really became common from 1984 or so.
And that's how they sound like when they fly.
During these early years, before the bar was codified as an absolute standard, there were some alternatives. Sometimes, health was displayed as a numerical value, such as in Gauntlet or
Rogue.
This method of tracking hit points can be traced to pen and paper games like D&D.
Yo, wait.
Another style from the
that?
transitional era is pen and paper games like D&D. Another style from the transitional era is two-stage health. The most famous example being Mario and Super Mushrooms, where you can power up and survive a hit without dying. Ghosts and Goblins does something similar. Take a hit and you lose your armor. Take another in this state of undress and you're dead. Sometimes health meters would emulate an electrocardiogram, such as in Nodes of Yesod, where its heartbeat indicator decreases in vigor as you sustain damage. This style isn't common, but has been surprisingly persistent. It turns up in later titles such as Shadow of the Beast, System Shock, and quite notably in Resident Evil. There's another particular type of health meter that's a little unusual and kind of rare, but it's definitely my favorite. I call it the chickenometer. Now, essentially, it's just a fancy health bar, but instead of being a boring rectangle, instead it's a visual representation of your vitality. The first game to feature one is Attic Attack by Ultimate Play the Game, the studio later known as Rare. Your health is represented by the image of a roast chicken, slowly decaying with time or when you take hits. With each portion lost, it reveals the bones which constitute the chicken. Flesh slowly deplenished until eventually you lose a life and the chicken resets. It is, quite frankly, vulgar. A bar would have sufficed, but instead we get this colossal indicator that dominates the screen and no doubt takes up plenty of RAM. I think they did it for two main reasons. The first is the restricted size of the playfield. In order to keep screen updates snappy, the action only occupies a portion of the screen, giving the HUD plenty of space to fill with vital info. Secondly, I think Ultimate was showing off. Attic Attack released in 1983.
Yeah, okay,
when
get
even
to the
basic
point.
health
Are you
bars
seriously
weren't
making a
particularly
whole
common.
fucking video about
So having this ornate piece of poultry on screen
animation
demonstrates that you
style
don't
of
have to
sprite
forego fancy
drawing of a
graphics
health bar?
in a game full of fast action. Essentially, proof that you can both have your chicken and eat it. Anyway, Attic Attack turned out to be a bestseller. Deservedly so, as it was a great game. And, as game conventions were still quite malleable, a few imitated this rather idiosyncratic feature. Pyjamarama has a pint of milk that represents your snooze power. Wake up by depleting its
power!
Agent X has a particularly ornate HUD. With each
I mean, and this doesn't fucking interest me, I'm sorry. Doesn't interest me. King Donald says, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday, Mr. Forsen? I'm doing fucking fabulous, man. Fucking fabulous, other than my lip hurting a little bit. Not really, it's not hurting, but it's just like uncomfortable talking sometimes. Elia Vias, thank you for 1 year. Forsen Z, 12 years. Thank you, man. Enjoy the veg. Barnor 1-1, Tundorf, Rare Sketch. Leonardo Valenci and Hassan Jarodi with the 3 years. Of course you can get a cringe fist, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man. Enjoy the Emily. Brother Elstone says, I didn't know I was gay.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Okay. I mean, they were a little binary back in the day. You'll have to excuse them, Chad. All right. Pepe Adon says, "Hey Forsen, what games are you playing after Demon Souls? Maybe try out this survival game. Oxygen not included. Has 10 out of 10 rating on Steam." Yeah, I know what game it is. But we're trying out some. New Viking survival game. Released yesterday. And maybe we try out the new PlayStation game that released, All Star Destruction. We'll see. We'll have a couple options, but we're not starting like a playthrough or anything before GTA or P on the 5th. 2 days. Actually, I don't even know if I will do it on the 5th. I don't know what time it releases. It might be like really late NA time. Then I will probably won't start on that day. Forsen Scoots Donald says Swedish PogChamp Navy lost to Wind in 1628.
This video is made possible by Brilliant. Learn complex topics simply for 20% off by being one of the first 200 people to sign up at Brilliant.com. Dominated the entire Baltic Sea and was one of the most militaristic empires that the world has. Possible by Brilliant. Learn complex topics simply for 20% off by being one of the first 200 people to sign up.
Does he think that anyone is gonna fucking try and sign up on a video that has like fucking 500,000 views if you're not the 201st subscribers? Like, make a better fucking ad. Doesn't mean you have to sit here and refresh when the video comes out.
At brilliant.org/real-life-lore. Simple math
No. People do not try, dude. Are you fucking kidding me?
Have caused massive engineering catastrophes in the past, and they probably will again. Because sometimes have catastrophic Swedish Navy in nearly every battle in the Baltic, Imperial Catholic forces of the Holy Roman Empire in Germany, and Sweden's naval situation looked pretty grim. The Poles were defeating the Swedish Navy in nearly every battle in the Baltic, and worse, the Catholic forces from the Empire had invaded Denmark and were poised to take control of the Danish Straits, potentially blocking and confining the Swedish Navy into the Baltic Sea. Sweden clearly needed a powerful navy with big ships to secure her interests. And so, in 1626, they came up with an idea. In 1626, the Swedish king, Gustavus Adolphus, was leading the Swedish army in Poland. Sweden was winning the battle on land, but, like I mentioned previously, they were losing pretty badly on the seas. Up until this point,
Gustavus?
the Swedish Navy was utilizing pretty small warships with only a single gun deck that were more prioritized for ramming and boarding enemy ships than blowing them up with cannons.
Yeah, we just call him Gustav Adolf.
Adolphus decided that he wanted to dramatically upgrade the Navy in order to meet the challenges of the time, so he ordered the construction of 5 brand new, larger warships that would be the first in the Swedish Navy to contain 2 gun decks. And the first of these to be constructed, the Vasa, was intended to severely overcompensate for the Swedish Navy's embarrassing string of defeats, because it was going to be built to be the most powerful warship anywhere in the world, so that nothing else could come close to challenging it. While the Vasa was initially designed to hold 36 bronze cannons divided between 24-pounder guns on the lower deck and smaller 12-pounders on the upper deck, the king demanded that the number be doubled up to 72 cannons and that they all were the larger 24-pounder guns. This armament would have given the Vasa the highest firepower of any ship in the world at the time, capable of blasting a metal wall that weighed nearly 900 pounds out of a single side straight at whatever enemy was unfortunate enough to come across its path. This massive amount of firepower coming from a relatively small ship is pretty goofy historically, because the USS Constitution, an American frigate that fought against the British in the War of 1812, nearly 2 centuries later, possessed an almost identical level of firepower, but was also almost 700 tons heavier. But the king was impatient while fighting an active war that he was losing at sea, and so he kept on demanding that the construction of the world's most powerful ship be hastened. So, rather than building a brand new ship from scratch that could actually safely fit 72 heavy 24-pounder cannons aboard, they had to cut some corners and decided to cram all 72 of them in a ship that was only designed for half of that amount instead. These cannons were also all made out of bronze, which is more dense than iron, and it was also beautifully decorated by roughly 500 sculptures depicting the king's family and figures from Roman mythology and Swedish history, and some of which were huge.
It's the one that's in the Vasa Museum, right?
The Swedish Empire was effectively building the early 17th century's version of the Death Star, and just like the Death Star, it came complete with one really stupid flaw. In this case, it was just a simple matter of physics though, rather than an obvious exhaust port. But it also took way less enemies to destroy it. The upper gun deck of the Vasa was initially supposed to house just 18 12-pounder cannons, but due to the king's commands, that number was increased to 36 of the larger 24-pounder cannons without significantly changing the design structure of the ship itself. Throw in a bunch of heavy wooden sculptures to the upper gun deck as well, and the Vasa was all set to become dangerously unstable, with the rollover risk of an 800 horsepower Jeep Wrangler. To further complicate things, the shipbuilder that the Swedes had hired to build the thing was some Dutch guy named Henrik, who had a pretty shoddy resume, because there's absolutely zero historical evidence that he had ever actually built a ship with 2 or more gun decks ever before in his life. So he only sorta knew what he was doing. Modern archaeologists have also found evidence that separate teams involved in the construction of the ship were using different systems of measurement. A classic mistake. One team working on one side of the ship was using the Swedish foot in 12 inches, while another team working on the other side of the ship was using the Amsterdam foot in 11 inches. Nobody noticed this discrepancy during the hurried construction under wartime pressure, and as a result, the Vasa's mass was distributed asymmetrically and was heavier over on the port side. Further, the headroom in the decks themselves was built higher than necessary for crewmen at the time, who on average were only 5 feet and 5.5 inches tall. The weight of the decks themselves, the design errors while constructing the hull, along with the heavier weight of the bigger guns than initially designed for, as well as the increased weight from bringing along 1,000 big 24-pound cannonballs and their accompanying gunpowder meant that the ship's center of gravity, when launched and fully armed, would be dangerously high in the ship's upper area. In other words, the Vasa was critically unstable, and many of the officers on board knew it. When conducting a test to prove its stability just prior to launching, an officer made 30 men run up and down the deck to see how well it could handle it. It didn't handle well at all, and after just 3 runs, the officer ordered a halt out of fear of making the boat capsize if they continued any further. There are letters from a Swedish admiral present.
Hello, Mr. Force. I just want to say thank you for the daily entertainment. Feels okay, man.
Well, thank you, sir. And thank you for the gifted subs, man. I mean, we know what
He
happened.
was there to see
Or
how
actually,
unready
you
it
might not.
was, and not off at war demanding that the ship be launched anyway. In the end, the political pressure to launch the ship was just too great, and nobody was brave enough to challenge the king. And so, on the 10th of August, 1628, after 2 long years of construction, the Vasa was ordered out of Stockholm port on her maiden voyage to take up her position as the new flagship of the Swedish Navy. And within just 1 nautical mile of this maiden journey, it would already be completely destroyed. A crowd of thousands gathered in Stockholm to watch the most powerful ship ever built sail off on her...
I wonder how much this cost to build the ship.
First journey. The ship's ports were left open.
I mean, calculated in today's value, obviously.
To fire off a salute as they left the harbor, and within minutes, the first signs of trouble appeared. A sudden gust of wind, just a little stronger than a breeze, was strong enough to tip Vasa over significantly on her port side because of her high center of gravity, but this was thankfully able to be reversed by the crew. However, shortly afterwards, a second and slightly more powerful gust of wind tipped the ship over again, and this time, it dipped far enough over that the lower gun deck with the open gun ports slipped just beneath the waterline, and it was all over from there. Water rushed in, and the greatest ship ever built that took 2 years to build took probably just a few minutes to sink in the full view of thousands of shocked and disappointed Swedes. It was effectively the equivalent of the Challenger disaster in the 17th century, and a catastrophe for the Swedish king. Had the gun ports been closed, it's possible that Vasa wouldn't have sunk almost immediately right after it began to sail, but the flaws in her design and engineering were so apparent that the ship never would have lasted for long anyway. The wind would have destroyed the ship sooner or later simply because of the laws of physics that the shipbuilders just didn't quite completely understand. While the Vasa was a catastrophe for Sweden in the 17th century, it would end up becoming a triumph for Sweden over 300 years later in the 20th. In the 1960s, technology had finally progressed far enough to where the Swedish government could pull the Vasa out from beneath the depths where it was 95% still intact even after all that time. And rather than pressing the ship back into the service of the Swedish Navy of the 1960s, they decided that it would probably end up being more useful in a museum. And so they drug it here to the Vasa Museum in Stockholm, where you can go today and gawk at the aftermath of one of the greatest engineering disasters of all time. When dealing with complicated problems like constructing a ship, it's easier than you think to make mistakes. Kings, engineers, governments, myself, and everyone else are all prone to making easy errors that can create problems both big and small. Luckily though, you and I both have a resource today that the shipbuilders and engineers of the 17th century didn't: the internet. It's easy to look up things you're curious about on places like Wikipedia, but honestly, when I was researching this video, I visited the Wikipedia page on center of mass, and the equations there may as well have been written in a foreign language. I hated math growing up in high school, and I've always struggled learning about it when I have to just read about it on a piece of paper or on a screen without anyone there to help guide me through the steps. And I'm certain that I'm not alone there. But thankfully, there is a perfect alternative to learning about math and science for people like you or me who might normally be struggling. It's called Brilliant, and their simple introductory classes on science essentials and physics of the everyday helped me out tremendously.
Jesus, the double ad. The back-to-back ad, man. Neil Smiley Face Donut says play Super Seducer 3. It comes out on the 15th. Okay, it's possible. Never say never. I'm not a super big fan of it because there's no right answer really. Kinda. It's like it's kind of silly sometimes. I didn't play the second one. I only played the first one. And it's like, chat plays Super Seducer Simulator. Pick the worst answer every time. We're lol. You know, I'm not a big fan of that. Limits in it. Yeah, so I heard. Legma Don says juicers / NA kids or Megalol. It's pretty fucking cringe, so don't need to watch the whole thing. Bro, you link me timestamp videos? What is Cash Me Outside? No, what is this? Jesus, dude. Alright. Is that Dr. Phil? Oprah? I can't even tell. Some fucking reality shit. Bada bing, bada bung, bada bing, bada bung, bada bing, bada yung. King Cohen and Lumberson Forceman are gonna add Forsen Champ and Forsen Looking at You and Forsen Champ as sub emotes. Wow, you want me to add Forsen Champ twice? I don't know what Forsen Champ is. Forsen Looking at You as a sub emote? I guess. I could. Doesn't make that much sense in other channels maybe, but we have 4 emote slots since we had to remove some emotes. It's possible. Is it that good of an emote? I don't fucking know. I guess you're the boss of that. Oh, okay, I guess it is. Dankpinks, Allure, Ackerhunt, a Cajun, Bastrix, Hawkeye, a Roadstaff, and Butcher of Blaviken. Thank you, boys. Derpadonic says, hey Forsen, will you play Resident Evil 8 demo on PS5? It's not part of the main story, so there won't be any spoilers, okay? Yeah. Nah, I don't see the point. I haven't played a single demo of Resident Evil. I just play the game when it releases. Like, why would you play a demo? It's just to see if your computer can run it. That's the only reason I can see before you buy it. Or whatever. This is a PlayStation demo, but yeah. It's unnecessary. If you're gonna play the game anyway, you might as well just wait. It's unnecessary. Mr. Duck Der Paladon says, hello Forsen. Do you remember this scene from Saving Private Ryan?
Get back up! How do you say it's okay? I can't. She reminds me of my niece, sir. Caparzo, get the kid back up there! Captain, the decent thing to do is to at least take her down the road to the next town. We're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to follow fucking orders. Sarge, take this goddamn kid! Come here!
Vin Diesel. I actually forgot Vin Diesel was in this movie until I saw it now. I saw it such a long time ago.
He was on the ground before we heard the shot. That's right, B.
I didn't see it.
450 yards, Captain, maybe shade under. I wouldn't venture out there, fellas. This sniper's got talent.
Talent?
Please don't cry. Clarkson.
Hold on, Caparzo. Help me up, I can walk.
Caparzo, stay still!
Two clicks.
Il faut surtout pas bouger! Captain! Can you see him from there? How is he?
Wade, you stay put!
Where's he shot, Captain? Captain, can you see him from there?
You stay there!
Damn it, stay down! What's the matter with you? I'm gonna take care of you if you get hit, huh?
Guys, come over here!
Copy, put your head down. Put your head down.
Oh my God, I trust in me. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me.
Copy it and send it to Maury.
Copy, you're gonna send it yourself. Put it down. I see it. Copy, I see it.
It's to my dad. It's got blood on it.
Get fucked.
We got him. Stay down.
We. Forsen playing CSGO. Yes. I'm the guy who repeaks an up with an up. Yes. True story, man. Alright. That game is downloaded. Alright, so we have a couple of bosses to finish up in Demon Souls, and then we can try out the I guess the survival Viking game that released with good reviews. Should be potentially good stuff, man. We're gonna play Hightail today. I don't know what that is. What is that? Sounds like Zelda. Delusional. You're fucking delusional, chat. You're the most delusional person / hive mind I've ever seen. Alright. Boop.